go ahead and get started. If anybody can't hear me, or just throw it in the chat or let me know. I know there's a little bit of a delay today. I'm having some internet issues, which is a little annoying. But anyway, welcome to the seventh installment of the I Think I Can't Speak for Everyone Here reading series. This is a reading series for writers, people who have written, are writing, or who I think should be writing. Though poetry is my way of subtitling the forwardness that's present in the etiquette of the past. This is a writer's space, so feel free to read vignettes, silences, singing, poems, excerpts from novels, stories, anything from the part of you that writes down the world. It is your space. Whether reading or not, you can turn your camera on or keep it off, consistent with your comfort level. Please keep audio off during the reading. If you do have something to say about what you're seeing that I need to know, just drop it in the chat or unmute yourself and let me know. You can direct message me in the chat as well to sign up for the open mic. Just write your name and any pronunciation notes in there. Afterward, if you have any questions, requests, or comments, you can direct them to bluejawedsnake@gmail.com, which I will drop in the chat right now. If you need a transcription of the reading, you can email me as well. Readings will be on YouTube, on the YouTube channel within a day of the reading. So basically, I'll introduce reader one, they'll read, then reader two, they'll read, and then I will get started announcing the open mic individually. So yeah, I'll go ahead and get started. I hope everybody's ready to go. First reader is going to be Saba Keramati. Saba Keramati is a Chinese-Iranian writer from California. She is the author of Self-Mythology from the University of Arkansas Press 2024, selected by Patricia Smith for the Miller Williams Poetry Series. She is also the poetry editor for Sundog Lit. I came to Saba's writing through her collection Self-Mythology. Absolutely love it for its terrifying accountability and for the scarcity its verse swallows in full view of the self. And with that, I'll go ahead and give Saba the spotlight here and let them get started.
Hi, folks. That was the kindest introduction ever. Also, for other writers who are in a Zoom room and or watching on YouTube later, Barton is like the chillest guy ever to organize a reading series. So highly recommend participating in that way. Thank you so much, Barton. Super excited to hear Zaynab read and any open micers. As Barton said, my book came out this year. It's called Self-Mythology. This is the cover out from University of Arkansas Press. I'm gonna read just a smattering of poems from this collection. And I'm pretty much just kind of gonna go in chronological order. I would love to start with two sonnets that appear back to back in the book, one that takes place in my father's country and one that takes place in my mother's. So the book sort of chronicles my father coming from Iran, my mother coming from China, and then me growing up in America in the wake of those kinds of political places. So I will start with a sonnet called Inside Persepolis. It's called a site of ruins. My father says it was an empire. I see nothing but crumbled columns. A child drops her mother's hand, reaches toward a stone flower, a bird with two faces. The lions trapped in a museum far away. A dragonfly lands in the dry earth, glimmering wings like veins in a pale wrist. The sun makes it hard to see. To think there was once a river that flowed here. A man spits on the ground, mud, my mother in a headscarf, her china skin so unlike my own, the dust like a carpet over the bones. And the sonnet that appears right after that one is Self-Portrait with Crescent Moon and Plum Blossoms. In the light of the moon that I only half belong to, my skin swells, stinging and red as lanterns. This waning moon, its insides full of goddesses and heartbreak, lore I've learned from history books and not my own blood. So take it, China. Take my blood with these mosquitoes running rampant. Suck the unbelonging out of me. How long will it take to work? I shape myself here with the emblems I can gather. Let me write myself with these symbols I claim to know, swear are in my lineage, proving myself to my own desire to be seen. So there are quite a few forms in this book. The sonnet I employ heavily, but there's also an obsidian, a haibun, etc., etc. It's very much a book that's interested in poetry as it's being written. And there's a series of three centos that appear in the book. They all have the same title, just one, two, and three. And centos are collage poems, so individual lines taken from other poems and rearranged into their own poem. I'm going to read the first one that appears in the series. And it's called Cento for Loneliness and Writer's Block and the Fear of Never Being Enough, despite being surrounded by Asian American poets. There is a house in me. It is empty. I empty it. When the sadness comes in a shroud, there's the perpetual feeling of being, a thirst for the self. When I'm melancholy like this, it's so nice to wake up and come back to me. Loneliness is still time spent. I've come to know, is the essence. I wash my hands in ink. I haven't been able to finish building a house. I wrote the word snow. I hurry home as though someone is there waiting for me. I think I'm going to read two more poems that appear back to back, just because, yeah, I think it's kind of fun to see how place changes. So these are two poems that take place in kitchens. In the smoke of the wild rue seeds, it rises like a gin, crackles and burns as it shapes itself into a forked tongue, the ends coming to snatch my eyes. This is not what the internet said would happen. Esfand purifies, protects, or so the superstition goes. The tears sting like vinegar, and the smoke shifts into a chorus of open mouths laughing at my ignorance. There is no respite. This is the air I have made. I've burned what was meant to be planted. My malevolence surprises me, as if shattering a mirror and great gazing upon fractals of blurred history, unrecognizable and still familiar in the brokenness. The smoke's sharp edge scratches my throat, searching for a way out. I know it's desperation. Does it matter where a thing is learned if I am trying my best? I do not know who else in this family burns or burned. Does this right still cleanse if I don't believe in it all the way? With a swallow, I calm what's left of the flame, open a window of this empty house. The half of me whose ritual this is was never supposed to be here. And this is Self-Portrait Alone in the Kitchen. My body seems to grow in unwelcome places. I wait for the kettle to boil. I sit on a stool, hunched over, curled like I am rotting. I train myself to shrink. I train myself to starve. I grow soft instead of smaller. A body with a mind of its own. I drink tea so I can taste something, a trick. A drop of honey on the tongue gilds my insides. The kettle whistles high and angry. I wish for the water to melt me. Maybe then I'll glisten, the folds in my belly, rivers of gold instead, reflecting. My mother once showed me the character for hunger, a self being eaten. When my stomach growls, I imagine it is eating itself. It is eating me. It will make me thin like my mother. Oh, I'm gonna take a sip of water real quick, sorry. So I am from California originally. I currently live in the Midwest. So I live in Michigan, so very much feeling the heat, Barton. Um, but I'm gonna read a poem inspired by California and the way that it's changed since I grew up there. And this is called Fire Season Grows Longer. What's left of one fire can start another, a small gust of wind, and this dry earth alights like a vengeance, unafraid and unstoppable. Then new growth. Who is worthy of it? The sun shining where it could not reach before. This is a threat, even in its beauty. It feels too simple to say I was not made for this. Who was? I am less important than I think myself, make less of a difference than I desire. I fear the warning signs with each revolution around the sun. When I say this is not home, do I mean the earth or America? Neither is the center of the universe. I have never lived anywhere else. It is all I know, the scorch of it, the fresh dirt, the possibilities, its dissonance and violence, beautiful, burning violence. So I have quite a few poems that take place in California. But this next one is inspired by and in direct conversation with a poem by one of my favorite writers, Sharon Olds. She has a poem in which she kind of goes back in time and visits her parents at their college graduation. And I wrote a version of that in my book. And it's called Rewrite, I Go Back. For a moment, it's all still there, a mirage of the California heat, wavering between now and memory. I can see them in the past at this window, the gleam of the blue neon open sign above their heads like a flood ready to wash them away. He is younger than I've ever seen him, drinking chocolate milk. Is this the first time or the third? I know he came here more than once. Not for the grocery store chocolate milk. For the woman behind the cash register, she is bright-eyed. Yet perhaps it was this day he saw the faint rubble of Tiananmen Square left on her cheeks. Should I go in and tell her it will never wash away? Or maybe this is the moment she learns that, too, the man drinking chocolate milk still smells of Iranian dirt and bomb smoke. In a year, they'll be married. She'll be pregnant. Should I go in and tell them that now is the best time to buy a house? Right now, they are fading, but they still believe in so much. They don't need to know their apartment will be too small, that their one child will be their last, or that their love has an expiration date. They will fight, and there will be anger they can't forget. They will suffocate in their small apartment. Their daughter will cry alone in her bed while their screams rattle the kitchen glassware. Their insults will hang on the door frames. I could go in and tell them, but what if these sweet moments are enough for a lifetime? What could they do differently, anyhow? Maybe we can remember past the hurt. The more I remember something, the more it seems to shift. I remember someone spat on me once, and I said nothing. Should I go in and tell them? I don't want to take up too much of your all's time. I appreciate you letting me read. I'm gonna read just two more poems. And I'm actually gonna go a teensy bit out of order. Because I like to end with the title poem as I'm reading. But I will first read a poem that takes place in Detroit, at the Detroit Institute of Arts inside of a museum. And it's called Inside the Museum, a Remnant. Between us, there is glass, a simple bowl, blue and white. My shadow self mirrored a shape without features, chrysanthemums around the edge, the materials Iranian, the pattern Chinese. Did I exist before this moment? In the glass, I am the bowl, a simple bowl, blue and white. This, a part of my own history I did not know. In museums, I do not always read the fine print. A simple bowl, blue and white. Today, it is imperative to pay attention. At some point in time, my father's country met my mother's, traded with each other a simple bowl, blue and white, delicately crafted, that which centuries later would find me. I am not well versed in history. I cannot tell you why this bowl exists. To eat is too simple an answer. A simple bowl. To wait, buried, until my eyes rested upon it, we call impossible things miracles. For the first time, I feel less impossible. Miraculous instead is so much of what came before. Caught in the back of my throat is an ancient scream. I admire my own stolenness. There is nothing else. This bowl and me, one taken, one aching to be found. What will we do with what is left of us? Let future historians find me buried in the same place as my ancestors, a country that doesn't exist, never existed. For now, go home, make chrysanthemum tea, tattoo a garland of chrysanthemums around my thigh. My whole life, I have been looking to corroborate my own existence. How many years have I been existing, unaware of myself? A simple bowl, blue and white. And to close off, I will read the title poem of this collection, Self-Mythology. Thank you very much to Barton for putting the link in the chat if you're interested in buying. Self-Mythology. I learn and I mourn for not learning earlier. The mint grew but was not eaten, a harvest turned to waste. The old brick of this house keeps the wandering night air cold and inside. I cannot fathom my mother before she was my mother. What forgiveness is necessary for someone doing their best? There is no relief, only the swell of an inward tide back toward the self. I learn and I mourn. There is no anger, only truth, only consequence, only I gazing at the past of my own body, the shell of myself melting, meaning I will drip to a future where I am a mother, am my mother, and all is what she helped create. One day, too, my daughter will break upon the shore, and still she will float back. I see it endlessly. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That was an amazing reading. It's interesting. I've read your work, and it's to hear you read it sometimes you'll read something and it doesn't quite fit um when you hear it, but the way you read is the way it came across on the page, which is probably a testament to your dedication to the art of words and poetry. I really that was really great. I like the whole self is the ultimate company and the ultimate loneliness, and I like the way you often write, with no avoidance or sudden thing. Everything is just um everything is kind of subverted, honestly, such as the two-faced bird and the you take the stones out of people's hands. And thank you for the reading, and thank you for the work you've already done. And I look forward to any writing in the future. With that, gonna go ahead and get on with our next reader. Zaynab Iliyasu Bobi is a Nigerian Hausa multidisciplinary artist, poet, and licensed medical laboratory scientist from Bobi. She is the author of the chapbook Cadaver of Red Roses, which was the winner of the 2023 Derricote Eddy Prize and winner of the inaugural Folarunshu Editors Poetry Prize 2023, Labari Poetry Prize 2023, the inaugural Akachi Chukwuemeka Prize for Literature 2023, and Gimba Suleiman Hassan Gimba Esquire Poetry Prize 2022, and the first beneficiary of Carolyn Micklem Scholarship. Her works have appeared or are forthcoming in Strange Horizons, Faya, Uncanny Magazine, Poetry Daily, Agbowo, Torch Literary Arts, Art Poetry Magazine, and elsewhere. Her chapbook, Uncensored Snapshots, is forthcoming with Chestnut Review in April or June of 2025. She is active on X at Zaynab Bobi. I came to Zainab's work actually after hearing her read at an open mic, at a Zoom reading put on by Justin Ham. From there, I sought out her collection, Cadaver of Red Roses, and absolutely love her work, for the lonely and parallel math it does in the name of a desperate decoding. And with that, I'll go ahead and give Zainab the spotlight.
Hi, but thank you so much for the compliments, and also thank you for pronouncing my name like correctly. Yeah. So I'll be reading from my chapbook, Cadaver of Red Roses. But before I start, I would like to say thank you to all the audience for joining in. Really appreciate that, and also to Saba. I think she just left, but I enjoyed her reading, and I'm a big fan of her work. So yeah, I'll start reading. I think I will read them. Okay, let me start from this. This is the book, just to show. Okay. Mist, unlike the grieving mother, the sky gathers stars to sing praises, where birds supplicate with unshredded tasbih. In Salah, the opening of every Muslim, every mother's prayer is Al-Fatiha, Ash-Shifa, the cure. Can you see how a mother looks for comfort in the arms of another mother? Al-Kitab, Ghayb. Genesis of stillness lives in the scripture of these eyes. There are many bodies stuck in its pages. Last night, I drowned my 3-year-old self into an Abiyaz's memory, playing houses with dolls, seeking homes, faking motherhood, mothering a child that will never learn of her father. But if she asks, I won't tell her how my innocence was poured into an ocean, blood cleansing water, a voyage of hope. I will tell her it was Qadar. Qadara when I say it with my tongue awake. And at some point, when I can't feel his hands touching my thighs, I will believe it too. Hear this. I vow to never take my daughter to the water. I will make her bath in her softness, like it rain, sleeping through the clouds, alive, wishing. Okay, the next poem I'm going to read is titled I'm Finding My Way Home. Yes, I sang with a bluebird last night. Yes, my tongue was folded. Yes, my door was locked. Yes, I didn't hold the knife. Yes, the knife held me. Yes, that sage into my body. Yes, I threw time out the window. Yes, the window was the size of the grave. Yes, I ran with the wind. Yes, I touched the sky. Yes, I fell on the ground. Yes, it was a maze. Yes, I was home. Yes, I was still on the road. Yes, a road can be a home depending on how long you have walked. Yes, I lied in the first line. So what? All right, so the next poem I'm going to read is Jenna. It's a poem that I cherish so much. It was written after Jenna, a Palestinian that was killed by Israeli military, that claimed to shoot her unintentionally. She was a 16-year-old. God said, let there be light, and there was light. Blank said, let there be fight, and there was fire. Twitter, a daughter, a child, named, loved, was shot 9 times, skull shattered, hemorrhage in a pool. Reporter, her body plays 3 bullets, strays into 3 bullets, stays in 3 bullets, like a myth about Lulu having 9 lives. Black said, Jana, a casualty, ticks backwards into her name to rip as the bullets are thrown with no fingerprints attached, unintentional. So, for clarity, Lulu is the name of her cat that Jenna went to save, but ended up getting killed by the Israeli military. So the next poem I'll be reading is Everyone tends to care when you pass through the knife. Through the blade, rather, sorry. I read this poem for someone, for an aunt, to be precise. All right. It is a sad truth that people only profess their love after a soul crosses the line. Pictures hung with roses and mouths with questions. How this? How that? Aren't we tired of beating songs out of silence? The place I come from, there are certain words that only make it out of darkness after the eye closes their doors. The Amunsen. The last time I heard those words was when a woman gathered her husband's punches in her heart at the hospital after the doctor drew the white sheet. He said it was heart failure. But we knew it was the oyster meals her mother fed her on every visit. God knows we added more to the ingredients. The last time she came home, with parties like an abandoned sidewalk, even when her eyes threatened to spill a river, we gave her a handkerchief and passed the bowl of freshly made oyster meal, because that is what we women do. I swear, we walked into her broken bones, built a force of excuses out of it, and kept going. This is this what you call love? Do you not see where the seeds of your selfish love brought her into? Grave, mother, hear me. When as your daughter comes home, add some softness to her meal. The living also deserve roses. All right. The next poem, I think I still have time. The next poem I'll be reading is Sidewalk attended man-made festival without insulting a Persian language. This is a poem that I wrote for my niece that died last year as a baby. Yes, my bones raised the ocean tides to a man-made festival. Yes, I activated the swimming tools, sniffing autocorrected to sink in. Instruction, shut down to deactivate lungs. Then, wake up to gills under your ribs. Prosthetics, you inserted suffocating button instead of stopping. Scientists, I crashed when the ocean hosted a bloodbath. The truth is, my eyes water the sky whenever I restart. It is the third night, the moon is drowning in my mouth, and you are floating in your bones. Gravity hasn't found you yet. Beloved, you need help to shut down. All right. Yeah, the next poem is also for her, titled Revelation. I think after this, I'll read one more poem and also. Okay, Revelation. Turning now. When the doctor said to your mother, she walked out of the clock. I painted three things. First, your breath went anti-clockwise. The hour hand walking backwards until it was swallowed by time. Second, you crossed out of time with a minute hand stuck between your feet. Knife had slipped into your mouth. Third, you drained your mother's chest and poured yourself into it, swinging back and forth, begging for gravity. Pain, too, is a child. So, just like Sababi, I will also close with the poem in which the chapbook is titled after Cadaver of Red Roses. Cadaver of Red Roses. Let's say there's an eye above the cheekbone of the scar, though not shaped like a star, but like a mouth that sneaks light into our bodies, sterilizes us from the trenches of night, like a creep, like a sea, like hope. Or let's say there's a crack wall on the navel of the earth. Underneath, everything beautiful is held hostage. Which will you choose to see? A lamb or a garden? What's beautiful? The lamb, a spectrum of lost voices. The garden, a cadaver of red roses. The thing is, we have been broken to walk through healing tunnels without shattering into bits that hope can't decode. Here, there's an inheritance the tongue holds, revisiting the same salt water that we have driven in. Do you see how everything that sips water? Ross? Thank you so much, Jordan. And you can get the collection, especially for those in Nigeria here. You can get the collection from me in the next, I think, 2 months. Yeah, because of shipping and yours. And For those outside, you can get the collection from Umayani Books. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zaynab. That was amazing. I was reading an interview with you where you had mentioned that you were kind of in another existence, and poetry kind of uh, called you out of that existence. And I would say that the way you kind of rip imagery out of its already existing place and shape it, and claw at it, and all that is kind of what I really love about your work. And I please everybody, I would please get Cadaver of Red Roses, and any future writing by Zaynab. But thank you both, Zaynab and Saba for being here and for saying yes. Uh, it was a really special reading. With that, I'll go ahead and um, open the floor for the open mic. I had 3 people, I think, sign up for the open mic. I'm gonna try to find them on here and call on them individually. If I can't find you on here, just unmute yourself and start talking. But the first one I had was a Fasasi Ridwan. Um, if you're here, you can unmute yourself, and I'll give you the spotlight.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
All right, you're good.
Okay.
All right, you're good.
So the title of my first poem is Disjointed, and it goes as thus. Memory is a house without an exit. My country is looking back into history with its eyes closed. At a checkpoint, a man is kneeling beside a Black Maria. His mouth is voicing an elegy. Let the bullet not give a justification of ought to his body. Beside him, a soldier is raising a whip in testament to pain. Before the pain is the hand. Before the hand is another man hoping this brutality won't be a metaphor for retelling. This poem will begin again. Memory is a house without a door. I am looking back into history, eyes wide open. Blackbirds are voicing a song into an elegy. I am holding my hands the way the sky holds the bird in flight. The origin of hate is never the body, but the hand wielding a weapon. Hunger too is a weapon. A beggar is a sprawling body of hope. And today holds no mercy for the desire of a body. I am watching the beggar in the rearview mirror. There is helplessness staining his liquid eyes the size of a country. The same kind of helplessness crawling into the man's despair. There is a loss that will never walk out of memory, that will never learn that the door out of memory is never an exit. So I think I'll be reading 2 poems, and this is the first one. So it is based on the recent brutality and massacre that occurred in Nigeria as of 2020. So the second one is titled, Perhaps Grief is Like a Seed in a Garden. So it's for my brother. So the poem goes as thus. And your grave becomes Eden, a garden blooming, red roses gnawing at your body, splintered grief, shattered bones reveling in silt. This is to say, most grief poems are about flowery metaphors, about memories, about the distance between what we are and what we forgot to be. There is something about the song, about borrowing screams from a strangled bed, how the mouth is a door to unwind our wounds. Last night, in my dream, a partridge perched on my window, chirping into the golden sunset. into the breaking of dusk. And like the bird, I am singing songs of sorrow, caving into the body of this form. In a part of the song, you are sharpening both edge of a knife. In another, a part of the song becomes a memory, drowning a boy the way a river swallows whatever defies it. Mouth to throat, split opens, spit out. And your body became the origin of our sadness. And all that is left of memory is a poem, which is to say, this poem is a door. You walked in, basking in red roses, in the glory of memory. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for that. That was really great. I really like the this poem will begin again. I like the way that that poem's kind of moved through time and kind of I was at a reading recently um where someone said that the future is actually in some cultures behind and the past is in front and the future actually impacts the past, and I kind of got that from some of the things you were saying. So thanks for being here, and thanks for reading. We have one more, I think, for the open mic. Abdul Basit Alu Wanashola. Go ahead and give them the spotlight, and we'll get.
Good evening, everyone.
I gotta find. Move this.
Good evening. Is anyone hearing me?
Are you good?
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. So good evening. I also be reading two poems. So the first poem is titled Aaron. It's for an Israeli officer who died, who burnt himself. So the poem goes thus. In front of a black gate, an agent points a gun at me. In a country, children are being suffocated, wringed and squeezed like lemons, like lambs widowed by winter. Newborn babies beg for oxygen after landing in the palms of phosphorus. People, flames waiting to be blown into orange fire, die, and I collect their remnants into this form. This is not a graveyard. It is the only space for them to breathe again. I marry fire. A man in a black suit, like a lawyer, wants to divorce us. With a gun, says, freeze, waits for me to say, please don't quench me. Please don't quench my wife. Please don't quench us. Instead, I say, ask your gun its handwriting. It will punch you, day old babies, bearing martyrs, casualties, refugees as a name. This is how I hope and pray for my country. But I know my country is a promise, longing for breakage, longing for killing. So the second poem is titled The Ethereality. A suspension teleported you into my bus. My eyes wore the blue curtain of the sky. Ghosts bloomed in my garden like gladiolus. In the mouth of the incident, I turned the bus into cemetery. Perhaps my parents will one day, like you and others, tread with wind into my bus. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I was only an opener for ghost stout bottles. I wonder who's at fault, the wind or their spirits. Through those months, we were a coin and the word, a monochromator, isolating your smile from others. Yours, a similitude to Sirius. We both knew love is a weed for ghosts and it can cost you your appearance. We clustered our feelings and made them a stone. Few days after, we soiled the stone with our lips. Yours, air, mine, water. I held your hand, my hand, an airbag, and we glided over ice. One night, inside my dream, my boss spun and spun and spun until it spat me onto my mother. She said, "Son, the gate of the ghosts is opened. Lock your sleep from nightmares." I said, "Mother, my slippery skin needs you as calcium, as bones." She put a pillow under my right cheekbone. Thank you. That's the end of the poem.
Oh, thank you, Abdul Basit. That was really great. I think also speaks to it's always so silly to say speaks to the current moment when um when this agony has been going on forever. But I think questions about a country and family and all of those kinds of things are always going to be relevant. And I don't know if there's much hope for uh the current moment or the past moment, but if we can throw these if we can throw these words at language, maybe some speaking will be done. But anyway, yeah, sorry, got a little off there. But thank you to our featured readers. Thank you to our open mic readers. This reading will be on YouTube in a day or so, and there will we've got another reading coming up on the 26th of this month, and then um gonna have some in August as well. So keep your eye out if you enjoyed the reading. Hopefully we can keep this going. Thanks everyone for being here today, and I'll go ahead and let everybody get out of here. Y'all have a good weekend.